Welcome back. Well, for now, the market is looking quite good, actually. It hasn't given up on any of its gains. It's been stable as can be through the day, through the morning, whatever we've had so far. The Sensex is still up about 820 odd points, and the Bank Nifty is the one that's soaring away 650 points higher. But let's not forget that geopolitical tensions between Russia and Ukraine are continuing. China is now battling a fresh COVID surge as well. That has resulted in some key districts in China being locked down. Will that result in trade disruptions? Will that cause supply side pressures for logistic players? That's the question we're asking today. Prem Kishan Gupta, the chairman and MD at Gateway Distriparks, and Sunil Vaswani, the executive director at Container Shipping Lines Association, joins us now to give us a sense of what's happening. Mr. Vaswani, let me just try and understand from you. There are a few districts in China that have shut down, some trade hubs as well. Has there been any kind of supply side disruption as yet, or is that something that the street is just fearing? Have costs gone up too?
Yeah, morning, and thanks for having me on this show. So far, the disruptions haven't been felt, I would put it that way, because these are still very early days. As far as Shenzhen is concerned, which has 3 terminals around it, the city has been put completely under lockdown. People have been asked to work from home, but the terminals around that city are officially working, but there is significant absenteeism because obviously many people can't get out of their homes. And that is actually delaying the vessel operations, which eventually could possibly lead to delay in the sailings of the vessels. And if that happens, then there could be a significant impact down the line, as that would create a cascading effect for the following vessels to come in. So as of now, there are early days, and the lockdown is from the 14th till the 20th of this month. But as I said, if anything gets extended, it could definitely have a significant impact on the supply chains.
That, Mr. Vaswani. Mr. Gupta, let's come across to you. Have you observed any kind of impact in terms of supply disruption? Also, if you could tell us, what about the Ukraine-Russia war impact? Has that had an impact in terms of availability, container availability? Has it impacted container rates as well?
Good morning, everyone. See, as Mr. Vaswani said, right now there is no impact either from Russia or from China. But going forward, I mean, if these things extend, because the war is already into its 4th week, and Shenzhen ports are shut or partially working for the last few days. This will result in congestion of the vessels at these ports, and in Russia and Black Sea, I mean, container lines have stopped all the operations. Even insurance covers are not available. So, for that matter, the containerized cargo from Russia was not so big to India, but from China, yes. I mean, it will affect many industries, and the turnaround time of the vessels and availability of containers. It will add to the already existing problems of containers not being available on time. It will also result into higher sea freights, which ultimately will have impact on both importers and exporters and manufacturers here. And it is bound to increase the prices of the products apart from the shortage.
Okay, that's an important point, that so far there are no disruptions. The terminals around Shenzhen city are working. But if this continues, then this could lead to higher sea freight rates as well, if disruptions kick in. Mr. Vaswani, there's the other problem, right, of higher crude prices. How has that impacted rates so far? Has there been an exceptional rise in costs over the last couple of weeks because of what's happening with crude?
As I said that as of now, let me take you back. If you give me a couple of minutes, the shipping lines have over the last year or year and a half done everything possible to keep things under control. In the year 2021, we repositioned empty containers, 1.85 million TEUs of empty containers into the country. And that was all used for export purposes. So all that, and also we increased our capacities into India to the extent of 35,000 TEUs every week. New services were introduced. If you annualize it, it works out to 1.80 million TEUs of capacity annually. And while all this happens, we managed to keep things under control. So I wouldn't put it that way that any increase that's happened now is because of any recent disruptions or anything whatsoever. In fact, things stabilize because of the steps that the shipping lines have taken. And right now, I think so far things are still under control. But we got, as Mr. Gupta rightly pointed out, the Russian market is relatively smaller, much smaller than the Chinese market as far as India is concerned. So any disruption in the Chinese ports could definitely have a cascading effect. And this could be in terms of congestion building up and the vessel disruptions. Vessels
Yes.
could probably even be forced to then skip the port, what we call blank calls, because then if they don't, they might be waiting outside for 8, 10 days, 12 days, and then they would end up skipping following ports, and that would be a massive disruption globally. So I don't want to alarm anyone about it because these are still early days, and hopefully things would come under control because the lockdown is only till the 20th of this month so far. And if things do come under control, then I think there would be no reason to be so alarmed.
Let's hope let's hope we don't have any blank balls, so to call it, Mr. Vaswani, as you just mentioned, and let's hope things smoothen out. But Mr. Gupta, let's come across to you. The street will be waiting by for when the company gets relisted on the bourses. So give us a sense on the timeline and also what the financials could look like. Basically revenue, what kind of debt will the relisted entity have in its books? Go ahead.
Well, our listing process is almost complete, and we will be relisting early next week. So that's the position as of today. So it might be 1 or 2 days here or there, but definitely in early next week we'll be listing. Now it means a lot for the company in the sense that all the 3 companies which have merged and amalgamated into one entity, the top line and the bottom line has increased significantly with a lot of cost savings and as well as access to the funds of the combined cash flows from all the companies, which has resulted into debt reduction of the company. 2 years back, our debt-to-EBITDA ratio was 4:1. Now it will be very close to 1:1. So in all respects, we will be offering pan-India services and all the financials will be under one roof. We have just recently published our combined entity results also 2 days back. So in all respects, the company is a much stronger. It has a much stronger balance sheet. It has much stronger assets and the revenue streamline. And the business has been growing until now. And even the current quarter or the current month looks very good. But going ahead in the month of April, I mean, it all depends what we discussed just now on the
supply. Got it. Yes. Got it. Mr. Gupta, just a few more numbers because there's paucity of time. You said that the consolidated entity, the financials will look much better. Can you tell us what will the financials look like? What kind of growth are you looking at? And you said that significant deleveraging is also happening. So what does the debt stand at currently and how much do you plan to bring it down to?
See, right now we have been paying the debts all along, and by the end of this year, as I said, the EBITDA will be close to 350, 375 crores, and the debt will be almost the same. From the peak of 850 crores 2 years back, we have brought it down to 375 now.
Okay, all right. It's been a good chat with you, both Mr. Vaswani and Mr. Gupta. Thanks so much for stopping by and giving your